Hi folks, this is John Mosley. I'm an attorney here in Virginia, in Northern Virginia. I do criminal defense as well as civil litigation, business issues, and some post-divorce adjustments. But there's one situation. See, one of the things I find about being a lawyer and dealing with clients is that many situations you don't know they're coming. It's just a surprise, and that's hard. It's hard to prepare for it. And the people who want to, who need that, they didn't really pay attention before. What do you do when you find out there's an arrest warrant out for you? And this can happen in a number of ways. But bottom line is, you got to do something. I had a guy, there was an arrest warrant out for him, he didn't know about it, and he went to Mexico. And when he came back across the border through Border Patrol, as a U.S. citizen, he got arrested in, I think it was Arizona, and then they had to fly him back to Virginia, back to the county where it was. What a mess. So if you become aware that there's an arrest warrant for you, there's no automatic answer, but you should see an attorney, a criminal defense attorney, and you should be careful. Now ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to end up in the same place. You're going to be processed in the police station. You know, take your fingerprints, things like that. They're going to take you before the magistrate. In Virginia, we have these lower level judges called magistrates. And they actually are usually in the sheriff's department building. And they serve these initial functions of setting bail, deciding whether or not to issue an arrest warrant for somebody if a person comes in to complain. They deal with some of these things. A magistrate is not a full judge. In some situations they may be, but that's not how Virginia is organized. So they bring you before the magistrate to decide if you should be let out on bail, let out, post bond, those kinds of things. And your case will come up and be heard. Ultimately, that's going to be where it ends up no matter what. I had a case, I've had times when arrest warrants are issued in error, maybe an understandable mistake, but the judge will say, look, I can't, it's out there. So it's very hard to, they're going to come back and they're going to deal with it in court no matter what. The issue you have to deal with, though, is you want to manage the problem. You want to manage the inconvenience. For example, if you... I often think that in certain situations, depending on your schedule, you might want to go in the evening. Because they're going to hold you for a certain amount of time while they process it. And if you don't want to blow a day, they'll deal with it overnight. They'll either let you out on bond or they'll have a hearing first thing in the morning. You probably can walk yourself in. I've walked clients into the police station and surrendered them at the time, and choosing when is the most convenient for the client. I've gone in with a client at 11 o'clock at night because they thought, well, they'll be out, next morning. They won't lose any time during waking hours. And so the problem is you want to control the problem. That means if you've got an arrest warrant out with you, number one, you don't break any other laws. You drive the speed limit. You don't run it. You drive very, very, very carefully, because if anybody stops you and they run your name, boom, they got an arrest warrant, and that means your car is going to be by the side of the road. It's going to probably have to be towed and taken to the impound lot. You won't be able to control the time and place when all this happens, and it can be very inconvenient. So until you decide that you want to walk in with or without an attorney, you're going to have to be very, very careful. You may even need to go stay with somebody else. What I do as an attorney, though, if I'm going to prepare to walk somebody in, I will call the police, or usually send them a fax so they have a record of it, and say, we're aware of it, we're taking care of it, I'm going to walk my client in 2 days. He's out of, sometimes it's true, he was out of the area. He's coming back from Virginia Beach. We'll walk him in after the weekend. That way they know they don't have to waste their time and effort going around looking for him. A lot of times these things are not serious enough that they're not going to come looking for anybody anyway. They're going to wait till he gets stopped or picked up for some other reason, something like that. So they're, but if they know, I'm on it, I'm going to take him in, don't worry about it. If you just wait 2 days, he's going to come in. And I need the credibility of saying, when I say that, it better happen. That way he could put his affairs in order. He put money in the hands of his girlfriend to be able to pay bills. He made, whatever arrangements you have to make, child care, whatever you think you need to take care of, so that when you walk in there, it's not a disaster, it's not chaos. And so that's what we had to do, and I think that's important. I have had to drive a person's car out to, I was in a trial, about to start a trial in one county, and the judge called us in the back and said, there's a problem. There's an arrest warrant out for her. That didn't happen by accident. The other side, was playing dirty pool. But I had to drive her car out to the other county where she had to go out to the jail. So it's very important to try to pick, you decide the time and day and circumstances of when you walk in there. Now, what's going to happen is that the magistrate will then hear your case and decide whether or not you should get out on bail, get out on bond. And there are bail bondsmen and things like that. I have my favorite freedom bail bonds. They've always been good with me. But they'll be right there. There's always somebody there that you can talk to in the jail to get out. If you have the cash and the circumstances and things like that. So that's what you need to do when you find out there's an arrest warrant. Unfortunately, you can't say, "Oh, that's wrong," or "I didn't do it," or they're going to book you, and then it's going to go to trial, and you're going to have to get, prove to the judge that it's a mistake, or that you didn't do it, or those kinds of things. So that's the unfortunate part. Let me add on one other thing. I probably should make this a different video. What happens if you miss your court date? In fact, I think I will make that another video. But again, immediately contact them. Go back and say, "Oops, I missed my court date. Can you reschedule it, even after the fact?" They may not like it, they may fight you on it, but at least you have to try. It might work, it might not, but you're way better off explaining to the judge that you goofed up, you missed it, you couldn't make it, you had a flat tire, if you've told them right away, and it's on record, and confirm it with a letter. Because that way, it's not that 6 months later you're making up a tale, it's right there in the file. And so that's very, very important. I did have one case, talk about laying low. We had, and these are all minor things, but they were cumulative. One guy had a court case, and we had to go in there and try to get the case dropped because of, I think it was a parole or something. And he's since got another arrest warrant. I think it was because he got the date wrong and it was a failure to appear. So we went in through the court security, worrying about, are they going to check his ID and find out? We went into the court case. He's up on the computer screen. So, I mean, there's an arrest warrant out for him. And we went in there, and I had to play all kinds of games where I went in and talked to the judge and left him out in the hallway, hiding, down the thing, so that if they tried to arrest him, not that, I mean, eventually they're going to pick him up, we're going to process it, but I wanted to control it. I didn't want to have them step on each other, these two cases. So we went through the whole thing, dealt with one case, and then we dealt with the other case later. It was very difficult. But that's the kind of thing you have to do. Most of all, don't wait for them to, don't wait for the problem to come get you. It'll happen at a time and a place that's the most inconvenient, like before a long weekend. Remember, on a long weekend, the judge ain't coming in until Tuesday morning. The magistrate will be there, but the actual judge to try to deal with something won't.